Hello everyone, I just did a video going over 10 films that I love that everybody else hates. Well, some of you have recommended to go over 10 films that I hate that everybody loves. Now, these films that I'm going to go over aren't exactly bad films. They're just films that I think are overrated, films I dislike personally, or films that I just absolutely despise. And I have different reasons going over them. So, in no particular order, here are 10 films that I absolutely just hate or think that are overrated, and everybody just loves them, and I don't. So, maybe there's something wrong with me. To start off the list is Annie Hall. Annie Hall is one of those films that when I went to film school, every film student loved. They're like, this is a great film. It's like my favorite 1977 film. And I was always like that guy saying, you know what? I think Star Wars should have won Best Picture over that. I know, I'm not into French New Wave cinema. This is pure cinematic art with Annie Hall, Woody Allen, but I could give a flying fuck. I think this movie is highly overrated. It's neurotic. And that's part of the joke, it's about relationships with this character that Woody Allen plays and the woman he's dating, Annie Hall, played by Diane Keaton. There are some moments of humor that are funny, like the part where they're waiting in line to go see a movie, Jeff Goldblum's small role, the whole part with the freaking cocaine sneeze, Christopher Walken being a creep. But I'm just like, what the heck? I just don't buy that Woody Allen or his character here is a sex symbol in any way. He's with all these women, and some part of the dialogue does feel very real, but at the same time, I'm like, this guy's just a snobbish asshole. Like I can't relate to this guy at all, and I know it's a joke, but this guy's neurotic in all the wrong ways, and I'm like, him and Annie Hall are at a disconnect. It's no wonder she went on and moved on with her life, There's nothing that really connects them here. Now, granted, I know this isn't like a rom-com or anything, but it's one of those movies that I just like, what's the big deal about this fucking film? Like, really. Annie Hall's one of those films I see, and I'm not a big Woody Allen fan, but I do like his films like Midnight in Paris, Purple Rose of Cairo. Manhattan is actually a better film than this, I think, but for some reason, I just can't get into this film, and everybody loved it in film school. I was the one guy in film school to be like, you know what, it was okay. I don't like it, and I think Star Wars should have won Best Picture. And I still stand by that. Star Wars should have won Best Picture over this film. Do you hear anybody talk about Annie Hall? Besides cinephiles, besides pretentious film Twitter people, do you hear any normal person, regular audience members under the age of 40 talk about Annie Hall? No, not really. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. You may like it, but for me, I don't get the big deal about this. So yeah, Star Wars should have won Best Picture. Speaking of Star Wars The Force Awakens is a sequel that I felt was soulless, and it felt wrong to say I disliked the film when it came out. And I said it, and I got a lot of shit for it, because people were like, this is a great film, better than the prequels, Star Wars is back, better than the expanded universe, all this stuff, and I'm like, really? I'm going to tell you something, the biggest sin that Disney made in this sequel trilogy, you got a chance to have the original three back. Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, and Mark Hamill as Leia, Luke, and Han, and you don't have one scene with them together? Are you fucking kidding me? Jesus fucking Christ, man. Like, seriously. This is a soulless rehash of Star Wars A New Hope. It's not identical, but it sure as hell is a lot similar to A New Hope. This doesn't have any of the originality or just storytelling of the prequel films or even the original films. Everything that happened in the original trilogy is undermined and just thrown away in this film. Kylo Ren is pretty much like the living embodiment of a millennial. Every negative stereotype people have of millennials is Kylo Ren. He's a whiny bitch. He really is. I love Adam Driver's performance. Finn, he was a very interesting character. But again, with sanitation and stuff like that, that's not how the Force works. I like Han, Chewie. The stuff set up on Jakku. The problem with this film is, it was soulless. You had the whole, let's have another type of Death Star with a Star Killer base. Them defeated, everybody going, woo! Like they're in a fan film. Like, it doesn't feel like... I don't understand the world. The galaxy feels more small in this trilogy, in this film, than it did in any previous films. And I'm just like, how do we get here? I know 30 years have passed, but like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's a First Order? Who's a Supreme Leader Snoke? And a lot of that could have been explored in interesting ways. Last Jedi really dropped the ball, but a lot of people hate that film, like myself. Force Awakens is one film that everybody just loves. I actually thought it was an okay film. It was a good stepping stone for a trilogy. The problem is, J.J. Abrams loves this term of mystery boxes and using mystery boxes. Here's the problem about mystery boxes. They only work if you know what the goddamn mystery in the box is. If not, you're just making shit up as you go along. Oh wait, I've seen that before. Lost. Lost set up all these interesting mystery, had a mystery box plot, in the first couple of seasons, and then what's in it? We don't know. We're just making shit up as we go along. And that's what this felt like. But the biggest travesty is having Luke Skywalker in the last 40 seconds with no line of dialogue. Han Solo's death. I knew it was going to happen. Just pissed me off. I just don't like these new characters. This movie was just highly overrated. Like, people were acting like it's the best Star Wars ever. I'm like, what's the hell so special about this? I had a bad feeling when Disney bought out Lucasfilm. I'm like, there's no way it's going to be good. The story was already done with Return of the Jedi. You had a beginning, middle, and an end with the original trilogy. And there's just no room to go. And for this crap, I would stick with the extended universe. Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. That's my sequel trilogy. That's my Force Awakens. Next up is Jurassic World. Jurassic World was another film that came out the same year where I'm like, how did this movie make so much money? Unlike Star Wars, I don't think this deserved its money. It was stupid. It was one of those films where I saw it, I was highly looking forward to it, and after seeing it, I'm like, you know what? I ain't buying this one. I'm going to keep my trilogy. It's something when you make the last two look good. I did not like Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard's chemistry here. Her freaking outrunning a T-Rex in heels. The whole Velociraptor thing being treated like puppy dogs. Like, we can communicate. They're like little puppies. We can train them. I'm like, you took the most menacing dinosaur, besides the T-Rex. You took the most deadly dinosaurs in the first two films. Hell, even part 3. And you made them into, like, little mindless puppies. And I just hate hearing, like, Vincent D'Onofrio's characters like, yeah, we're going to train them and have them fight terrorists in Afghanistan. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on with this movie? Now, I did like the whole SeaWorld theme park Jurassic World aspect. However, the two kids and the divorced parents was just, I didn't like it. They could have just made Chris Pratt's character, the nephew, in freaking Jurassic Park. And they could have had a scene where it's like, I've been to this park before. And it would have been like the kid growing up. That would have been kind of cool. And then you have the final fight, which is cool, but at the same time, the T-Rex does not get the final kill. The freaking, like, water monster does. Pterodactyls were creepy, but I didn't like all the jokes. It felt like they got that Marvel Cinematic Universe formula of jokes and just added stupid shit in this movie that I just did not like. I did love that final ending, though. That T-Rex roaring in the park was pretty awesome, but, And then the whole Jurassic Park shirt. For nostalgia's sake. This is great because it reminds us of the first one. All these like middle-aged men and women are like, this is great. This is my childhood. I feel nostalgic. Well, you know what? For nostalgia, I would have put on the originals on both Star Wars and Jurassic Park instead of dealing with some half-assed sequel reboot films. That's what I would have done. Yeah.
Use your aggressive feelings, boy. Let the hate flow through you.
After that is Guardians of the Galaxy. Now, this film is actually a pretty good film. It's just one of those films that I think is overrated. You know, everybody was like, this is groundbreaking. This is like the next Star Wars. And I watched the film and I'm like, you know what? It's pretty bad when the best thing going out of that film is a raccoon in a fucking tree, man. Like, seriously, the beginning, I know it's supposed to be a sad scene with Star-Lord's mom. That acting was just horrible. It felt like a fucking Lifetime Hallmark movie. And then everything else with the jokes. I think what really kills this film for me, I love the main set of Guardians of the Galaxy members. You know, Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, Groot, and Rocket Raccoon, my favorite character. It's the villain. Ronan's just a lame villain. Kurt Russell was a big improvement as Ego. Like, they beat this villain in a dance-off. Like, what the Jesus H. Christ? They should have had Thanos more. I know they were building up to him, but, like, he would have been a better main villain. This movie was okay. It was more of a comedy. It wasn't supposed to be taken seriously, but you know what? It was just stupid. And, yeah. The best thing this film has going for it, besides a raccoon and tree, is the soundtrack. To me, it was just overrated. Now, I know I'm going to offend a lot of people out there, but I don't give a crap. Now, after that is Godzilla from 2014. Now, this film royally pissed me off, and I actually saw this film for free and still felt like I wasted my goddamn time. Like, seriously. I know people thought it was closer to the Japanese films. It was, but at the same time, I'm like, it was such a goddamn tease. And this film just, like, crashed and burned. It fucking nosedived right when Bryan Cranston got killed off, and you're stuck with Aaron Taylor Johnson, whatever the hell his name is, the Quicksilver in Age of Ultron, who can't act worth a shit, man, to save his life. The only films I liked him in were Kick-Ass, but this film, besides making Godzilla really fat and not featuring him, it's really more about the Mutos monsters. Ken Watanabe has the best part in this movie. Let them fight. I love that. But damn it, I saw this for free. People were mad at this movie. Every time you thought you were going to see Godzilla, no, we're going to cut away. We're going to show fight on the TV that's out of focus and shaky cam. No, we're just going to show foot. Now, the foot part was creepy. Like, that was like, holy shit, this thing's going to be big. Let's finally see it. No. And they don't do that just once or twice, but they do it 3 or 4 goddamn times throughout the movie. And their whole reasoning is like, it's more scary that way. We didn't get to see the alien until the end. We didn't get to see the shark in Jaws till the end. And I'm like, there's a difference. One being, those were the antagonists instead of protagonists of the film. Second of all, when you did see them, you fucking saw them. It didn't just cut away from them when you finally saw them. When they showed them throughout the whole freaking movie from that point on, and didn't just cut away and showed freaking human characters I don't give a shit about for 45 fucking minutes. Ugh. Godzilla is one of those infuriating, lame films that just pisses the living shit out of me. It just is. King of Monsters, I thought was an improvement over the original. However, the human characters were pretty damn annoying in King of Monsters, but it's just one of those films where I'm like, it was good, but like, I like how it was more faithful to the Japanese films, but for it to be on the same level, hell no. The Toho films are still golden, and this film just... that and RoboCop just pissed me off in 2014. After that is Love Actually. This is one film that I just find highly overrated. And this is a guy who likes watching rom-coms. I even can watch Hallmark movies, as bad as those are sometimes, but Love Actually is just like, what the hell is a big deal about this? You have all these different characters, and that's cool. And it just bums me out because I actually like the director-writer of this. He wrote and directed so many other movies. You know, About Time is a classic, Notting Hill, 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Like, I like his other works. This film was just boring and just like, this is love? Is this Love Actually? Shit, that's disappointing. And you have that one scene where the guy from Walking Dead's there trying to woo the heart of Keira Knightley, having those little flashcards, and it's like, oh, it's romantic, it's sweet. I'm like, yeah, and she's waiting for her boyfriend. Boyfriend's asking, who's that, honey? Inside the house. Like, I know that guy's there spilling his heart out, but I'm like, she's still with the other guy. And second of all, if somebody did that in real life, they'd be like having a restraining order against them because they're stalking or something. Besides that, some of like the gratuitous like sex scenes just for the sake of it, because it's like boring. Like, okay, we might as well add an awkward sex scene here with them filming. You do have good actors like Liam Neeson, Alan Rickman, Hugh Grant in them, but it's just one of those films I didn't get. Blame me, I don't know. I have freaking Casablanca here. I don't know. Love Actually is actually just not for me, and I just think it's an overrated film, and I just fucking hate it every time I see it on TV. I'm like, this piece of crap, god damn it. After that is The Babadook. The Babadook is probably one of the most overrated, pretentious, boring-ass films I've seen in this fucking decade. It's one of the most overrated films of the decade. It's creepy. Yeah, this mother in the movie is just out of her goddamn mind with her kid. But what the hell is this movie about? I tried watching it. I watched it straight through, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this movie? I don't know what it's about anymore. I know it's a Babadook and all this stuff, slow stuff. I'm like, nothing happened. It didn't scare me. It bored the hell out of me. And I'm like, what the hell's so special about this? People love this. It's like, this is cinematic art. This is a great horror film. I'm like, you know what? There's so many other freaking horror films, both mainstream and independent, PG-13 or rated R, that is better than watching this. I'd rather watch paint dry than to watch this fucking film again. It's that goddamn boring. The Babadook is just one of those films that just infuriates the living shit out of me. Every time I see it on Netflix on the thumbnail, I'm like, that boring movie. People talk about how great it is. I'm like, you know what? You need to get off your ass and watch more horror films in your life. I know that may sound pretentious. It may be a jerk to you. I may offend people, but I don't care. The Babadook is one of those films that I think is, I'm going to call it, the most overrated film of the 2010s. After that is another overrated film. It's La La Land. Now, this is one film that I actually really wanted to love. I actually haven't finished it straight through. I've seen the ending, and unlike other people, I actually like the ending. It's a realistic ending, and in many ways, even though they're not together, they're both happy. They both get what they want, even though it's not what they ideally pictured for themselves in the past. The music, the set design is so good, but it's boring. And the dialogue scenes, it's just like, what's going on in this movie? Like, it's just talking, boring stuff, and then crazy musical numbers. And it's good if you're into like the 1940s and like old-timey films and stuff. I love Seeing It in the Rain. I can watch that movie from beginning to end. La La Land bores the hell out of me. And it's shot so beautifully. I love Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, man. I loved them in freaking Gangster Squad and freaking Crazy Stupid Love. This movie, like, what the hell's going on in this movie? The music is good in moments, but it's just one of those films that's just so boring. And to be honest, I know Damien Chazelle has a background in music, but every time I watch La La Land, it feels really tedious to watch. It's like watching a music major at a college make this like pretentious film that only music majors and band students and band geeks can fucking watch. And this is a guy who played the tuba in band. Like, it's just one of those things that's just like, this feels like a fucking music major's passion project. And that's good, but I'm like, this is overrated. And it's sad because I really wanted to love La La Land. It's just one of those films that I just could not get through, and I just hate. But I love the ending, if that's anything. Maybe I should give it a shot again, rewatch it, and give it a second look. But it's one of those films that I was just like, this is boring and pretentious at its finest. People call Christopher Nolan pretentious. No, man. La La Land, this shit is as pretentious as he can fucking get. After that is Gravity. Gravity is one of those films that is an enjoyable film, but I'm like, this one, Best Picture? I love Sandra Bullock. I love George Clooney. George Clooney wasn't in it enough. It makes you wonder if Sandra Bullock, like, died at the end. Was it real? Was it like an imaginary thing with her dying and it's like a spiritual journey at the end? But it's one of those things where I know she's stranded in space. It's like Castaway. You have to survive. It's very scary. You have to think fast. But at the same time, she's an astronaut, and she's making all these dumb freaking choices in the damn movie for being a trained astronaut. Now, I'm not saying I would do any better in that predicament. She had to go through a lot of rough shit, but there was just some stuff in here that was just stupid, and I was just like, wow. People were acting like this is 2001 Space Odyssey or something, man. I'm just like, I watched this and I'm like, you know what? This is a good film, but it's not the best science fiction film of the decade. I'd rather watch Interstellar. I think that movie is more of a cinematic piece of art than Gravity. And I love Alfonso Cuarón as a director, but it's just one of those films that I'm just like, what the hell? What's the big deal about this film? Yeah, it has George Clooney, Sandra Bullock, all this stuff, but it's just, like that one, Best Picture. Oh, I don't know. It's just not for me. Last but not least, there's so many films that could be on this list. I may do more videos if you want to see it. But another film, I don't exactly 100% hate it, but I do get annoyed at it. I do think it's highly overrated. But I must say, we had The Lion King come out this summer. But I have to say that I liked the first live-action incarnation of The Lion King, and I'm talking about Black Panther. Black Panther was one of those films I was really looking forward to. I love the character in Captain America Civil War. Ryan Coogler just came out of Creed. I love that first Creed. I loved his first film, Fruitvale Station, before that. Black Panther disappointed me. As a matter of fact, the main character had no charisma at all. It was overrated. The effects were crazy. There's so many freaking like freaking dreams, trances, and just like vision scenes of going under and seeing your dad and being there. Like so many vision scenes that I'm like, when's the plot gonna get going? The best part about this film is the villain Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan. I'm gonna burn it all. And it pretty much is a Lion King, and kind of like Hamlet, if you want to be that specific. But it's crazy, to say the least. This is one film that I enjoyed, but at the same time, I was just like, what the hell's so special about this movie? It's not even the best MCU film. And I can't believe it got nominated for a Best Picture. And I have to say, I'm going to sound like such an asshole, but I'm already sounding like an asshole. It was because of a political reason. That's why. That's all I want to say there. But I do love the fights. I do wish they focused more on Black Panther's character when he was injured. I do not like the CIA guy Martin Freeman plays. He kind of feels like the Great White Hope, kind of like token character there. And other stuff like that. It's just one of those films that I'm just like, this is silly and at times boring. And I didn't think I was going to say that. At times it feels like it's too long. And that's an odd thing to say, but it's one of the few Marvel films that I think deals with a pacing issue, at least for me. And I just did not love this film as much as other people. I like it, but I'm going to watch it as much as the other Marvel films? No. And they're going to be like, well, you don't like it because he's African character. It's Black Panther. And I'm like, oh yeah? Talking about a black superhero. Will Smith wants to know your number from Hancock. Blade, played by Wesley Snipes. I mean, you have freaking Meteor Man, Blank Man. Oh, speaking of MCU, let's not forget Falcon and, oh yeah, Luke freaking Cage. Anyway, Black Panther is one of those films that's an enjoyable action film, but I just think is ultimately highly, highly overrated. And every time I hear like my nephew or other people talk about how great it is, it being the best superhero film and stuff, I'm like, no, it's not. I remember my nephew was trying to argue with me about the villain Killmonger being the best villain of all time. I love his performance, but I'm like, well, after losing a fight, he kills himself, where Thanos actually succeeded in wiping out half the universe. So I'm going to vote for Thanos. Anyway, I digress. That was top 10 films that I hate that everybody just seems to love. Now, hate is a bit of a strong word. Some of them I despise, but others I ultimately think they're just a little overrated. This is my opinion, so again, if you're going to attack me, I guess you can feel free to, but I really don't give a shit. Like, this is just my opinion, and I think they're good films. I think everybody should watch some of these, except Babadook. Babadook's a piece of shit. Every other film that you can watch. Anyway, feel free down in the comments below. Let me know 10 films, either ones that are on this list or your own. Are there 10 films that you just absolutely hate that others seem to love and you just don't get them? Like, you don't get it. Let me know those films down in the comments below. Again, you can follow me on the Stardust app at Fred Film Fanatic. And also subscribe to my channel for more videos. Check out these videos for more content. Don't forget to hit that bell for more notifications. And that's it. Until next time. Have a great day, everyone.